Hi everyone, I'm going to continue reading the next chapter of Charlotte's Web, and it's chapter 4 and it's called Loneliness. The next day it was rainy and dark. Rain fell on the roof of the barn and dripped steadily from the eaves. Rain fell in the barnyard and ran in crooked courses down into the lane where thistles and pigweed grew. Rain spattered against Mrs. Zuckerman's kitchen windows and came gushing out of the downspouts. Rain fell on the backs of the sheep as they grazed in the meadow. When the sheep tired of standing in the rain, they walked slowly up the lane and into the fold. Rain upset Wilbur's plans. Wilbur had planned to go out this day and dig a new hole in his yard. He had other plans too. His plans for the day went something like this. Breakfast at 6:30, skim milk, crust, middlings, bits of donuts, wheat cakes with drops of maple syrup sticking to them, potato skins, leftover custard pudding with raisins, and bits of shredded wheat. Breakfast would be finished at 7. From 7 to 8, Wilbur planned to have a talk with Templeton, the rat that lived under his trough. Talking with Templeton was not the most interesting occupation in the world, but it was better than nothing. From 8 until 9, Wilbur planned to take a nap outdoors in the sun. From 9 to 11, he planned to dig a hole or trench and possibly find something good to eat buried in the dirt. From 11 to 12, he planned to stand still and watch flies on the boards, watch bees in the clover, and watch swallows in the air. From 12 o'clock, lunchtime, middlings, warm apple parings, meat gravy, carrot scrappings, meat scraps, stale hominy, and the wrapper off the package of cheese. Lunch would be over at 1. From 1 until 2, Wilbur planned to sleep. From 2 till 3, he planned to scratch itchy places by rubbing against the fence. From 3 until 4, he planned to stand perfectly still and think what it was like to be alive and to wait for Fern. At 4 would come supper. Skim milk, provender, leftover sandwich from Lurvy's lunchbox, prune skins, a morsel of this and a bit of that, fried potatoes, marmalade drippings, a little bit more of this and a little bit more of that, a piece of baked apple, and a scrap of upside-down cake. Wilbur had gone to sleep thinking about these plans. He woke up at 6 and he saw the rain, and it seemed as though he couldn't bear it. I got everything all beautifully planned out and it has to go and rain, he said. For a while he stood gloomily indoors. Then he walked to the door and he looked out. Drops of rain stuck to his face. His yard was cold and wet. His trough had an inch of water in it, and Templeton was nowhere to be seen. "Are you out there, Templeton?" called Wilbur, and there was no answer. Suddenly, Wilbur felt lonely and friendless. "One day just like another," he groaned. "I'm very young and I have no real friends here in the barn. It's going to rain all morning and all afternoon, and Fern won't come in such bad weather. Oh, honestly." And Wilbur began to cry. And for the second time in 2 days. At 6:30, Wilbur heard the banging of a pail. Lurvy was standing outside in the rain, stirring up breakfast. "Come on, pig," said Lurvy. Wilbur didn't budge. Lurvy dumped the slops, scraped the pail, and he walked away. He noticed that something was wrong with the pig. Wilbur didn't want food. He wanted love. He wanted a friend, someone who would play with him. He mentioned this to the goose, who was sitting quietly in a corner of the sheepfold. "Will you come over and play with me?" he asked. "Sorry, Ari," said the goose. "I'm sitting on my eggs, 8 of them. Got to keep them toasty, oasty warm. I have to stay right here. I'm no flibberty-ibberty-gibbety, and I do not play there when the eggs are to hatch. I'm expecting goslings." "Well, I didn't think you were expecting woodpeckers," Wilbur said bitterly. Wilbur next tried one of the lambs. "Will you please come play with me?" he asked. "Certainly not," said the lamb. "In the first place, I cannot get into your pen as I am not old enough to jump over the fence. In the second place, I am not interested in pigs. Pigs mean less than nothing to me." "What do you mean, less than nothing?" replied Wilbur. "I don't think there's any such thing as less than nothing. Nothing is absolutely the limit of nothingness. It's the lowest you can go. It's the end of the line. How can something be less than nothing? If there were something that was less than nothing, then nothing would not be nothing. It would be something, even though it's just a very little bit of something. But if it's nothing is nothing, then nothing has nothing that is less than it is." "Oh, be quiet," said the lamb, "and go play by yourself." "I don't play with pigs." Here's a picture. Sadly, Wilbur lay down and listened to the rain. Soon, he saw the rat climbing down a slanted board that he used as a stairway. "Will you play with me, Templeton?" asked Wilbur. "Play?" said Templeton, twirling his whiskers. "Play? I hardly know the meaning of the word." "Well," said Wilbur, "it means to have fun, to frolic, to run, to skip, and to make merry." "I never do those things if I can avoid them," the rat replied sourly. "I prefer to spend my time eating, gnawing, spying, and hiding. I'm a glutton, but not for a merrymaker. Right now, I am on my way to your trough to eat your breakfast, since you haven't got sense enough to eat it yourself." And Templeton the rat crept stealthily along the wall and disappeared into a private tunnel that he had dug between the door and the trough in Wilbur's yard. Templeton was a crafty rat, and he had things pretty much his own way. The tunnel was an example of his skill and cunning. The tunnel enabled him to get from the barn to his hiding place under the pig trough without coming out into the open. He had tunnels and runways all over Mr. Zuckerman's farm and could get from one place to another without being seen. Okay, friends, that is where I am going to stop today. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll read to you guys later. Bye.